Hello everyone, welcome to this quick video. I have started giving some tutorials on how to perform and install various type of vulnerability management solutions like Rapid7's Nexpose, Nessus and Qualys. I really haven't done any introduction to vulnerability management. If you're following any of those and if you're interested in vulnerability management, I thought about doing a very quick video about what that is. In my career, I have seen in companies where they do not have any vulnerability management solution at all. A lot of the time, I have seen people, they would be following the Microsoft Patch Tuesday or maybe looking at the major critical vulnerabilities that made it to the news. They will follow it and try to keep up with that. But a lot of time, the companies, they don't have either the resources or the knowledge, to have a good vulnerability management solution. So in this, I'm just going to give you a quick introduction, what it is and why you need it. And also I'm going to refer to some of the tools. Some of them are enterprise edition and some of them are free that you can use. And we'll end the video right there. And in the follow-up videos, I'll show you how you can use different tools like OpenVAS, maybe if you are thinking about a free solution, or even Nessus if you are thinking about an enterprise solution, and how you can use it to improve the overall vulnerability of your infrastructure. So let's get started. I'm calling this a vulnerability management 101. Why do you care? What tools to use, and how to do it. So the first thing, security is important. Like if you go back probably 10-15 years ago, a lot of people, they were not thinking about the security as much as we do today, and especially after the COVID situation. Everybody is now working from home, a lot of people, if not everybody. So security is even more important now, and we feel like the COVID situation has advanced the whole IT age by multiple years. Okay, what we would have done without the COVID in next 10 years, we have done in last 6 months, last 1 year or so. So internet is omnipresent, is everywhere, and to do your work, doesn't matter where you are connecting to other servers that are completely in a different region, some other parts of the world, and you're still working. We have work that is given to other companies that are in other countries for cost purposes, and people will connect to your servers from some other country and do your work 24/7. So security is important, and for many business domains like healthcare, like finance, like military, like governments, security is absolutely important, and not only important, it's required by law and is regulated. And there are several different type of regulations that you will come across, and we'll mention some of them in this slide as well. And finally, security breach is very costly. So if you look for amount of money people would have to pay for serious breaches is unbelievable. So it's a very lucrative market for the hackers who are constantly after some monetary gain a lot of times. Okay, plus the reputation damage. So if you have a major security breach, your stock market, your stock price is gonna fall down. So there are implications. So it's better that you spend money upfront and you understand what you have, what kind of vulnerabilities you have, what is your risk, and be prepared and always stay ahead of the game. And that's all we can do, because 100% security is never achievable. There will always be something, and we'll always have to do more and more so that we can identify the problems that we have in our infrastructure quicker than the bad guys. All right, let's go to the next slide. So basic components of infrastructure security. So I'm trying to keep this slide as easy for you. So I'm not introducing a lot of different type of scanning. I'm just trying to keep it in two parts: vulnerability management and the penetration testing. So in the vulnerability management, what you do, you would use tools. You can do it manually, but it's not possible if you have a large infrastructure. And for the tools in the industry, there are a few names that are very, very common: Nessus, Qualys, Rapid7, InsightVM or the Nexpose, Those are all enterprise editions and very common in the industry. And if you are looking for a free solution, you can go for OpenVAS. That's a free vulnerability management tool that you can use to scan your environment. Now, vulnerability management is one component, and other component is usually penetration testing. So the information you have gathered from the vulnerability management, that you know, now you know these are the list of vulnerabilities that you have in your system. Now you want to check, okay, let's try to exploit this particular vulnerability and see if we can really do some damage. So that is the part which is the penetration testing. And again, people, they would typically use tools, but a lot of times, if you really want to exploit, a tool may not have a custom script or something. So people who are doing penetration testing, in my opinion, they are more skilled than just the people who are just doing the vulnerability management, because penetration testing, it will possibly require skills writing scripts in Python, some kind of scripting languages, and understanding how packets work, and understanding how to say enable the reverse shell to a different operating system, things like that. All right, so just think about two different things that you absolutely need: the vulnerability management and the penetration testing. A lot of laws and regulations, they will require that you have a program for vulnerability management, as well as you are performing pen testing on an at least annual basis. Okay, all right, let's move to the next slide. So a little bit more about the vulnerability management. Vulnerability assessment or management, you really, all those tools that we have already mentioned. The most common is going to be the vulnerability assessment. What really does, what it does, that you would be running scans, and for most organizations, you'll be running scans periodically, like at least twice a month. Maybe you have a patching schedule, so you'll be doing a pre-patch and then a post-patch scan to make sure all the patches were implemented properly. So, and it's a periodic, it's not like one time thing and then you're done. It never happens that way, because vulnerability is a dynamic thing. So today, your Windows, there may be no flaws, you have the latest patch, but some 0-day vulnerability came up. So now you're vulnerable, although previous scan that you ran yesterday said you had no problem, now you have a problem. So this vulnerability assessment scan, just like a virus software that you install in your software, it depends on a virus signature. Vulnerability scanners, they typically use vulnerability database. So the different vendors we talked about, the Nessus, the Rapid7, the Qualys, they will all maintain a very robust and very lengthy vulnerability identification database, where they will create an identification for each of these issues, and then they will run scan to identify if you have any problems, and they will check, okay, this is the vulnerability, do I have it in this host? If you find, it will flag it for you. So that is something, and that database that we have, it is universal for all organizations, and that database is just keep changing. It's very dynamic. So if you scan something and you didn't find any problem, that doesn't mean that tomorrow you are going to run a scan and you are not going to find any problem again. Reason, your database may be now different. Now your database can identify more problems what it wasn't able to identify the problems yesterday. All right, so a lot of tools you will see when you talk to the vendors, they will focus mainly on the vulnerability assessment, and that's how most of the tools got started. The other piece that is also important for many organizations, and also you have to meet regulatory requirement for that, is the policy assessment. Now, a lot of people who are not in the vulnerability management space, they probably don't know about policy assessment. So this is really, the baseline configurations for your operating systems or your databases, your middleware. Maybe you have an application server, a JBoss server, or IIS server that's running, and you want to configure them to meet your particular business requirements. And now this could be different from organization to organization. Like, say you have the password, minimum number of characters in your password, that's a requirement that can change from one organization to another. So these policies, so they have to be, you probably you will end up a little bit more time setting up these policies. You will probably need people who are a little bit more skilled than people who are again doing the vulnerability assessment, just to understand how the policy works and how to implement the different policies to meet your own organizational demands. But what typically these different tools they will support, different policies they will come from organization like CIS, Center of Internet Security. And if you're in the government sector, a very common place to go and get the policies are from the uh, DISA STIG, STIG, I'm sorry. So two places, the STIG and the CIS. You will see a lot of organizations, they will be using those two different sources for their policy, for coming up with a base policy. I'll just write it down, STIG and the CIS. So CIS they will call it the CIS benchmark, and STIG will call it STIG benchmark. And just before we move on to the next slide, vulnerability, what is it? It's a very common question for a lot of interviews even. Vulnerability is a potential weakness in your system that can be exploited. Okay, it could be anything: weak password, unencrypted traffic, 0-day, unpatched system, anything like that. Now, a lot of people may even ask you, can you do a manual validation? So can you perform a vulnerability assessment manually? The answer is yes, you can, but it will take you a lot of time, right? You can go, especially for the policy. I have personally done manual validation of policies when I was working on a project, and it had to meet a certain CIS benchmark for Rails standard. And I only had couple systems there, so I didn't need a tool to do the assessment. So I only had to go through and run several commands and make sure that my system met the CIS standards. And if it didn't, I could also fix it. Now, if you have hundreds and thousands of systems, then can you do it manually? Probably no. You will need a tool, and that's where the different tools that I talked about again, the Nessus, the Qualys, the Rapid7 Nexpose, the OpenVAS, those tools, they come in. Okay, so the next thing, as I already talked to you guys about, so now you have some tools that I mentioned where you can go and get the tool set up in your environment. You started your assessment. Now what do you do with the data? With vulnerability assessments, they usually stop at the assessment phase. They don't really do the penetration testing. Some tools will support, but most tools and most people who are doing the vulnerability management, they will probably not do the pen testing, just because of the separation of duties. You want to keep the vulnerability management in one group, pen testing people in another group. So generally pen testing comes next once you have a vulnerability assessment done and you know the issues that you have in your environment, then you can start exploiting them. So it's intrusive in nature, and most common tool you probably already know is Kali Linux. There are other flavors, other Linux available that you can use for your pen testing, but Kali is still the most popular name in that field. And especially the Metasploit will have a whole bunch of publicly available exploits already built in, and you can use Kali to exploit using those open exploits to attack other systems. So there we go. So you have another tool that you can use, and it's free, the Kali Linux, and you can use it to test if you pass or fail the pen testing. Now, next thing, we are getting close to the end, so I just wanted to talk one more time about the benefits of the vulnerability management. So why do you really need it? So I kind of talked about multiple different benefits already. So the first thing, risk prevention. So if you are doing periodic scanning to identify your vulnerabilities from your operating system, and then the above layer is the middleware application layer, and even on the application itself, usually these tools, they will rate those applications in terms of severity: high, medium, critical, urgent, different levels. And based on the criticality, you know what is your risk. So you can, instead of randomly finding one issue and fixing it, you can focus on, okay, these are the number of issues I have, so that many it probably you can estimate it will take 20 hours, 40 hours, how many number of hours you need, and these are the number of resources I have, so which one you're going to fix first. So if you have the vulnerability management program, you can even keep track of the history, like when a vulnerability is found and which of them are critical, which of them needs immediate attention, and which of them you can, maybe you have a remediation control and you can wait for a little bit. Okay, so maybe you can wait a couple months, so you can come up with your own standard for medium, low, and how soon you should be fixing them. So this gives you a nicer picture, and since the risk rating they're already coming from the tool, it reduces a lot of your manual risk calculation and validation. And the other thing, avoid non-compliance. As I said, a lot of regulatory compliance that the financial industry, the healthcare industry, and other type banking industry, they have to meet. They require that you have a vulnerability management program available. You have a pen tests that's done every year or periodically. You have all the reports available, and auditors will come, and you have to provide evidence that you have a solid, vulnerability remediation program where you're scanning your assets regularly, you're identifying issues, you're applying patches, you're doing everything you can to make sure all those systems and infrastructure that you're using for the business is completely secure. And also it helps you to stay ahead of the game. So before somebody else, the bad hackers, the bad person identifies the problem in your system, these vulnerability management tools, they are your way of identifying the problem before anybody else, and it helps you to even fix the problem before anybody else finds, thereby reduce the attack surface. So by all of that, you're avoiding financial loss, you're avoiding reputation loss, data loss, and any impact to the CIA. And CIA, I hope everybody, all of you know what that is. It's the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. These days people are also adding P for privacy. So you can also say CIAP impact. You can avoid all that. Alright, so I think I have only one more slide. So this is just the stages of vulnerability assessment. So maybe you do not have a vulnerability management program at this time, so, and you are interested, and that's why you started watching this video. So in any vulnerability management or assessment program, the most important phase is to identify the scope of the project and what are we really trying to protect. So meaning, what are my assets? Okay, so if you are most interested in your servers and you don't want to do the network devices, then network devices are not part of your assessment. But if you do want them, then you add them. Like I have been in with organizations where they are doing maybe servers and networks. They don't do printers. Maybe I have been with organizations where they're doing workstations, but they have a completely different group who is doing printers and IoT devices. So understand your scope of work that you're going to do, but commonly you will see that most organizations, they will include servers, workstations, and then databases, any kind of middleware, servers that you're running, and the applications. Okay, generally if you are going to do as a contractor, then absolutely you get an approval, get your scope clearly defined, and then plan out what you're gonna do. Again, the next thing is the information gathering. So if they're not able to give you a good list, and it's possible that a smaller organization, they don't have a good asset management solution, do not have a good CMDB, they do not have a ServiceNow, they do not have anything like that where you can go and get all the assets in one place. I've seen people use wiki and they have hundreds of pages. Whenever they spin up servers, they will write down, but it's very difficult to get a list of all the servers that you want to scan from wiki pages. So a lot of times what you have to do, maybe you have to run an in-map scan to identify how many live IPs are there. So that kind of stuff would be you would call that information gathering. At this time, I would also talk to the network people a lot, especially if you are at the vulnerability management group that you're coming in and you want to do an assessment. you should keep a very good relationship with the networking people, because without them you cannot really scan. They'll probably have firewall rule and routers everywhere, ASA, everything is probably going to block all the traffic that you are going to run for your vulnerability assessment, unless you let them know, hey guys, this is the server that I'm going to use to do my scanning, and I need to get access to all the subnets, or you tell me which subnets you do not want me to scan because you think there might be a business impact, something like that. So at this phase, even before you do a full-fledged scanning, you can do a small POC and see if everything is working fine for you, you like the tool and it's giving you accurate results. Okay, again, you can use different tools, Nessus, Qualys, Rapid7. Most of the tools, they will have a free edition available to you for testing. You can get them and test it out in your environment, see which one you like the best, and go from there. There are two other phases: data analysis and false positive review, and pen testing. I kind of already talked about. Now this part is important. Data analysis, usually the report that you get, you want that report to be accurate. Okay, you don't want Nessus to tell you that you have a problem when there is not a problem, or you don't want Qualys to tell you there is a problem when there is not a problem. So most of the time, in my experience, what will happen, you will submit the report that you're getting as is, for the most part, from these tools to the different server owners. Say you're going to submit to the server team, they will actually look at it, they will read and investigate. They will, a lot of times, they will have a better knowledge than you do, and they will identify and they will question and say, hey, this is a finding that I believe is not true. And that point, you will come back and spend more time on it and determine whether it's truly a false positive or not. Usually, those tools, they're good, and they're known for accurate results. So you would expect a limited number of false positive, but it's something, it's time to time you will find some issues and some false positives as well. So just be prepared to kind of go through that exercise and prepare your data. Again, pen testing is optional in a vulnerability assessment, and in my experience, the pen testing team is usually a separate team. In only one organization I stayed where the vulnerability management and the pen testing team was the same team. Smaller organization, you probably have a more chance that they don't have enough resources to separate the duties of different people. But in a larger organization, you would think that vulnerability management and the pen testing, they will have different teams. And the report generation is also absolutely necessary and common. Any time you are running the vulnerability scans from the tools, you will get a lot of customized reports, and a lot of tools, Nessus, Qualys, Rapid7, they will also have very, very highly usable APIs that you can also use to generate reports and they will also give you lots of ways to create dashboards, so you can view what you have, like how many servers, how many Windows 10, how many Red Hat Linux, how many critical vulnerabilities, how many vulnerabilities didn't get remediated over last 90 days, all kinds of data, and you can customize most dashboards very well. So that's kind of all that I wanted to cover in this particular lab. Before we close, I just want to go to do some couple of Google search. So Nessus is from Tenable, and you can just go to the download Nessus vulnerability link, and you can download the Nessus. Nessus got an essential. It's free download, and I already have videos where you can download this and you can scan up to 16 IP addresses. Okay, it's ideal for the educators, students, and individuals starting their career in cybersecurity. If you need a little bit more in a professional environment, go for the Nessus Professional, or go with the Tenable IO. Okay, let's go to Rapid7. Rapid7, say Nexpose, and Rapid7 security solution. and if you go there, you will have this page, and let's see, they have multiple different products, so you just click on the product. And for the vulnerability management, the InsightVM is the product they offer as a very good product. So you can get started, click on the link. Again, I have a video how to install it. Even within an Azure, it's very easy to install and get started with the product. The other one that I wanted to show you, so both of them are paid. Nessus got a community edition that is free. Rapid7 they don't, but they do have the free trial. Okay. And the Qualys for a long time didn't have any community edition, but now even Qualys got a community edition. Okay, so if I do Qualys community edition, let's see, Qualys community edition. So they made it exactly same as the Nessus. You can scan 16 IPs, and you can scan and just get started with it. The one thing I don't like about Nessus and Qualys, when you try to log in, both Nessus and Qualys, they will request for the work email and not your personal email, even for the community edition, and that's whatever the business direction they have. So that's just remember that you cannot use your Gmail or Yahoo to get this product. You have to use your business email, even for the free version. All right, the last one that I wanted to show you is the OpenVAS. So this is the free version, and if you want the OpenVAS, and let's see, OpenVAS vulnerability scanning, where is it? Just go to that one. That's the openvas.org. That's the most reliable place. From Greenbone, it used to call Greenbone probably 100 years back maybe. So this one, if you are just getting started, you don't want to pay anything, this is a good place for you to start. And it will have all the features, and play with this tool. It will have all the dashboard and everything for vulnerability testing of your in your infrastructure. And in matter of fact, I have personally used this product. The only problem with the product, your vulnerability database, that will not be as good as the other commercial editions, because it's a free product, right? So, but it will give you a lot of good results and reports. And if you do not have anything and you do not have any budget, I would highly recommend that you go here and start with this product and see if it's working for you. All right, so that's all I wanted to cover. Just give you some examples of the different vulnerability management tools and how to get started. If you need any help, any questions, just feel free to email me and get in touch with me, and I would definitely try to help you out with this. If you like the video, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and have a great day. Stay safe.